Hi guys, compliments of the season. Quick question. Have you ever heard of Ahithophel before? Let me show you something very interesting that I noticed. In the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 16, verse 23, it reads, Absalom followed Ahithophel's advice, just as David had done, for every word Ahithophel spoke seemed as wise as though it had come directly from the mouth of God. So we see that Ahithophel was somebody who was considered like the oracle of God. He was a royal advisor, and it used to be like when he speaks, it's almost like God himself was speaking. And imagine my shock when I noticed something in the next chapter, which I'm going to read very quickly. If we go to 2 Samuel chapter 17, verse 23, it says, when Ahithophel realized that his advice had not been followed, he saddled his donkey, went to his hometown, set his affairs in order, and hanged himself. He died there and was buried in the family tomb. What? I mean, this is somebody who was the royal advisor. This is somebody, when he spoke, it was like God himself was speaking. And here we are, he's committing suicide. And I'm like, what could have happened? One word: bitterness. You see, David had done something to Ahithophel, or to Ahithophel's family member, that Ahithophel just could not let go. And because of that, he was driving him down the path of bitterness to the point where he was taking a series of detrimental actions. And we see that that's why somebody who was the advisor of a king all of a sudden killed himself. And it just struck me that bitterness has no advantage. Bitterness, unforgiveness, there's nothing to be gained by it. Bitterness is a destroyer. Bitterness will take something beautiful and turn it into something ugly in seconds. It's like bitterness dries us in from within. And that's why it's not shocking that Hebrews chapter 12 verse 15 tells us, it said, let there be no root of bitterness among you, because it will corrupt many. And that's what it is. You know, the more you entertain unforgiveness in your heart, you see that it's not just affecting you, it's even affecting people around you, because there's a way you react. Every little thing is like you're offended and you can't let it go. You know, if somebody offends you, it's like you are meditating on it. I don't know if it happens to you when somebody offends you. It's like you're angry about it, you'll be thinking about it. You know, every second you vomit it, you think of it, you chew on it, you'll be like, if I could go back to that time again, what I'll tell you. You know, you'll be planning, oh, I wish I said this instead of that, because you want to show them, give them a piece of your mind. You see, the more we do this, the more we surrender to this, the more we are giving ourselves over to bitterness. And so, you know, it just struck me, there's nothing to be gained. The worst part of bitterness is how it affects your relationship with God. And relationship with God is so important. It's not worth being bitter against anybody, because it's difficult to claim that you love a God who you cannot see, when the brother you have, the one around you, you are bitter against, you have unforgiveness in your heart for. And so I think the greatest cost of living a life of anger, of bitterness, of unforgiveness is what it does to your relationship with God. I don't forget the fact that I myself have offended people and I've craved for their forgiveness. I've needed them to forgive me. And so therefore I must not forget that I myself must forgive. Jesus said, if you don't forgive, my Father in heaven will not forgive you. So, I mean, we need to grow to a point where, like, you know what, Lord, I let it go. I let it go. I'm not going to be bitter. I'm not going to keep this thing in my heart. Yes, what they did was bad. What they did has hurt me, and he has offended, and he has cut me. But if Jesus could forgive those who killed him, who nailed him to the cross, he prayed for them before he died, then what's my excuse? And I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to be defined by what people do to me. In fact, it makes me stronger. Remember Joseph? If not that his brothers did what they did to him, they sold him to slavery, you know, they lied to their father, they hated him, how would he have become prime minister of Egypt? So there are some of these things that happen. You don't know, but it's working for your good. It's teaching you how to handle certain situations that you have never been able to handle if you were not in those situations. So in all things, really, we give thanks. And we must learn to grow to the point where we're like, no, Lord, I let it go. I'm not going to be bitter. I let it go.